Hello there. So I'm again back with the new, interesting topic. Today we are going to see what is pivot and unpivot in SQL Server. So as usual, the agenda would be understanding what is pivot and what is unpivot, and then a practical demo as usual, which is very interesting. So let us understand what is pivot and it's nothing but a relational, they are relational operators for transforming table valued expression into another table, right? It's very simple. Okay. Pivot is used in transforming a row level data into the column level, right? And unpivot is used to transform the column level data into the row level data. In many a times, for the reporting purpose or, for, updating the datas or reports, something like that, you might need to aggregate the columns, but instead of having them into the row wise, you need them into the columnar format. Let us see what I mean by that, right? So, for example, you have a table, right? Your sales amounts are actually being stored in a table in this way. For example, company name, a sales year, and the sales amount. But for some specific reason, you need that, you want this to be transformed uh, into the data like this as shown into the on the right hand side, that is company X and then 2018, 19, 20, 21, and so on. Okay, so this is what pivot does, basically transforming the row level data into the column level data. And similarly, the vice versa, if we sometimes you get the data from customer or from any sources in this format, and for some reason you want to convert that into the row level format, then your unpivot would works. Right now there are alternatives. I will show you the alternatives also. Right, so this is very simple. A pivot transforming the data from row level to column level, and unpivot transforming data from column level to row level. Right. So yeah, let us see in action. Let me open the management studio and let me first create a data for you. So I have created a data for you, as you can see. So from my sales table, now you can see here, we have company name, a sales year, and sales amount, right? And we want, as I shown you into the, in the presentation, that we want into the columnar format. Okay. So what is an alternative? See, there is an alternative to pivot, right? You can do this with the help of this query, that is using the sum function and a case statement, right? So for example, if sales year is 2018, then sales amount, or else 0 and then sum it up. And name it as 2018, 19, 20, and 21, and then you group by company name. Okay, so if you execute this query, right, you can get the same data. Okay, let me execute this both the queries simultaneously so that you will get more clear picture. See, so as I told you, just transforming this, right? So this is the one way, company X and then company X with 2018, 19, 20, and 21 data, right? And it has done the summation also. For example, for 18 we have two rows, 25 and 10, and so here it shows the 35. Similarly for 19 we have two rows for company Y, 55 and 30, and you can see here this is an 85, right? So this is the one way of transforming the data, right? Of course, this is the one way. There can be many other ways also, right? But why pivot? Now, just to see, like, this is more compact and more clear, right? So, for example, here, as and when the, year keeps increasing, right? If as and when new data keeps coming in, you will have to change so many things here. Of course, in pivot also, same things happens. We might have to change a pivot little bit if we don't write then in a dynamic way, right? I will show you what is dynamic way also. First of all, let us understand what is pivot. Okay, so basically is nothing but as we told, it's a relational operator, not relational, sorry, it's a type of operator or a function, you can say. So the main thing is the sum, a for, and in clause here, they are very important. So what we are saying, okay, so you need to specify what what column needs to be aggregated. So here, here we are specifying that sales amount should be aggregated. Okay, for what? So we are saying for all sales here, we need to aggregate sales amount. So what happens? And then we are saying in 2018, 19, 20, and 21. So what basically the query does is it aggregates the sales amount, into this years from the data, and it generates the separate column for all these years, right? This is the very, very what you can say, simplest form of pivot. Just we are giving a sales amount, aggregation column, and on what basis we need to aggregate. So we are specifying sales here, and then we are specifying how many columns. That is, we want this data for 18, 19, 20, 21. Even we do for 22, it would, but if data is there, then it would generate that. If not, then it would generate the null values. Okay. So let us execute this first and see. You can see here the same company A X 35 20 and so on, right? So same data is generated. Now you can see the difference. This is more clear, right? A compact, and here you need to write some and case statement for each column you need to specify, right? And there can be chances that, for example, while copying and pasting, if 2018 you mention this two times, then again you may have the errors, and here the chances of error is very less. Okay. Now the question comes in that what if we want, like, as you know that as and when the years come by, right? More and more data would get inserted into those sales table for 2022, 2023, 2024. So how we can make this dynamic? Okay, because every year then we will have to change this query and put in 22, 23, 24, 25 and so on, right? Because of course we can do it beforehand, right, before those years come, but then again those null data would be generated. Okay, the value for those would be generated as null. So let me show you. Suppose if I write here 2022 and then again 2023. Okay, and let us execute this now. See, as I told you, 2022, 22, the column would be generated, but for now, as there is no data, we don't have anything, so they would be generated as a null, right? So what is an alternative? So that's where you write the query in a dynamic way. So for example, you can generate this query depending upon the whatever current data is available, right? So in sales table, as you can see here, you can see from here in sales table, we already have a sales here, right? So we can generate the column name from this sales here dynamically, and then use that, so that as and when the data gets generated, those columns would get populated. So how do we do this? Now the basic query structure remains the same. So if you can see here, the basic query would be same, but we would be putting the dynamic values for the aggregation column, for column, right? For what column we need to aggregate this, and then the list of the column. Okay, so what we are saying here, similarly, column to aggregate sales account amount, column to pivot is sales year here, and list to pivot means this columns we are actually generating dynamically. So what I am doing, if you can see here, select distinct sales year from the sales, right? So if I execute only this, you can see 18, 19, 20 and 21 is appearing, right? And then I am actually generating the column, comma separated column here, right? So let me show you this first. Okay, select at the rate list pivot. Okay, so if I just run this, so you can see this way 2018, 19, 20, and then we will pass this variable to this in operator here. So instead of specifying, manually each year, we are just specifying here now the variable. So all these variables now we can specify for the aggregation column. So this is to aggregate, this is for column to pivot, and this is the list of pivot column. And that's it, simple. Otherwise, the other query remains the same. So now if you execute this, oops, I need to take, okay, right, see the same way. So this was our aggregate like list of column being generated, and you can see here now this is being generated, right? Now, for example, like in 2022, new row has come, new row has arrived for company X. So I'm just inserting this. Now with the dynamic one, you don't have, see, if you had written this static query, then you will have to actually create this column 2022 here. But with the dynamic one, without changing anything, if I execute this query, you can see this 2022 would get appeared automatically in my final result set, right? So now this dynamic actually works, right? Why it is dynamic? Because it actually we don't have to change anything, and as and when data comes in, it would get generated. The column would get generated. So now, for example, if I delete this column, delete this row, delete from sales where sales year is equal to 2022. We know there is only one row. Okay, I'm deleting this, and now if I again execute this query, changing anything, again the 20 column has been gone, right? So this was related to pivot. I had shown you both the ways, the alternative way, the static pivot way, and the dynamic pivot way. Okay. Now let us move on to unpivot. What is unpivot? So for this also, let me generate the data first. Okay. So if you can see, I have this data here. Okay. Company X, and then I have this data generated like this for 2018, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. Now here also the alternative way is that with the help of union all, right? If it is a 2018, then you generate that row. So if I just select execute first query, then you can see for my all 2018, I have generated 10, 50, and 20 column. So similarly, I keep appending the queries for 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So when I do this, I would again generate the whole table. So now this we have actually, if I execute this, so we have converted the column values into the row values. So 2018, 3 rows, 10, 50, and 20, 2019, 3 rows, and so on. Okay, so this is one of the way, but again here the same thing, as and when the new data comes in, you will have to modify this, right? And this is become the code becomes little bit longer, right? So there is a function or a operator called unpivot, very simple here. For each row, let me show you, select star from unpivot cells. Okay, so how do you how to understand this query? So this is basically simple query. I am querying my unpivot sales data, and from that I am unpivoting this. So here from this query, right, as I shown you that this is my basic query. When I execute this, company X 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So how to read this? So in unpivot, you are saying what would be my value column. So like for what would be the name of my value column, that is 10, 20, 30. So I'm saying sales amount, and for, so all this column, right, the column name 2018, 19, 20, 21 would be termed, would be kept under sales year. Okay, so like I'm saying, like value should be sales amount, and my year, the column name should be sales year. All the column name which are different column 2018, 19, that column name should go under the sales year column for unpivoting, that is converting from column to row. Okay, so when I execute this simultaneously, you can see here that company name X 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, and here we have actually generated the same thing, company X and then 10, 20, and you can see what we had specified, sales amount for my values, and sales year as a column name for my column name 2018, 19, and 20, and so on, right? Now this also you can actually write a dynamic query, so whenever the new data comes in, you don't have to do anything, right? Automatically all those columns would be generated into the row form, right? So this was a little bit like a very small demo related to pivot and unpivot, right? Make as much as practice you can, so that you can understand this more clear. Okay, and then you can use this. This is a very beautiful feature in Microsoft SQL Server, so you can use them whenever required for pivoting and unpivoting, right? Instead of writing very long statement, you can make a use of this pivot and unpivot. Hope this would help you a lot, right? As usual, please subscribe to my channel if you have not already done that. Press a like button, provide me the comment so that I can improve upon my videos if I am lacking something or missing something, or if you want to have a demo on any specific topic, then please leave me a comment. Okay, And don't forget to share this video with your friends and colleagues so everyone can benefit from this. Okay. So that's it for today. Meet you with the good next, with a good topic next time. Till then, bye. Take care.